I've gone to, like, I'm in different tantra circles where, like, they push for that, but I
Yeah.
definitely wasn't given that tool belt,
Yeah.
like, right out of the gate, and, like, those first few conversations, like, this feels so fucking awkward, but
Mhm.
then once I talk about, like, okay, different boundaries or different things or
Yeah.
turn-ons or then I'm out of my head and I'm
Mhm.
more in my body, I'm enjoying the overall experience because 'cause we're
Mhm.
talking about whether we wanna use protection or if I'm on birth control or not or,
Mhm.
all those different, like, parameters, like, if I wanna be choked or not,
Yeah.
and then there's a lot more freedom and playfulness and exploration that can happen
Yeah.
versus like, am I
Oh,
doing?
you're just
Yeah.
nervous. Now you're just You're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, is she having a good time? Also, is this like
Mm,
is she gonna think I'm a weird?" It's like,
mm-hmm.
I think that's with everything in life. It's just talk.
Yeah. Or that anxiety or like, oh, am I the weird one if
Yeah.
I like this or
Mhm.
express this? And like, I know that I was chatting with someone for a different podcast and a lot of the questions that he had were pertaining in some form or fashion about, am I normal if I am into this?
Yeah.
Or and then I was chatting and joking with a girlfriend of mine. I was like, I think our religious upbringing made us a lot more kinky. Because,
Yeah.
because and all those confines and that sort of stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this might be the reason, the source. So what you were trying to prevent, you actually instigated, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's honestly, yeah. I think that's why I
Yeah.
did, like, hard drugs and stuff is
Mm-hmm.
because, I was kind of like a dorky guy, My dad's like, "You don't smoke, you don't drink." So then when I was on my own and someone's like, "Hey, do you wanna do some coke?" "Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?"
Yeah. I know for me, I idolized, like Hunter S. Thompson
Yeah.
and like different artists and creatives and that I'm like, oh man, they're
Mhm.
experimenting. And I'm like, maybe this is a way to get inspiration
Yeah.
or battle gold.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, the way he ended his life isn't the
yeah, that's
best.
definitely not
It's
what I
not
would
the
know.
best.
But
Yeah.
I definitely was like, oh, I'm, put different pedestals
Yeah.
on things and experiences, and I liked edge and never liked people telling me what to do. So I was like, okay, I want to be a little bit of a rebel, and like,
Mhm.
how do I find my path through that and that sort of thing.
I think that's what drew me to stand-up too is
Mm,
because that's kind of, you know, because I really didn't get to speak my mind as a kid. You just sat there,
mm,
you listened,
mm,
and if I ever spoke my "But what about this?" "Shut up." It was, like, very, like, "Don't
mm,
question God, are you crazy?" So I like stand-up is because you can question whatever you want. You can
mm-hmm.
question whatever you want. You can say whatever, you can go down rabbit holes, you can and so that's, I think, what very, like, inspired me watching comics at a young age, like Chris Rock and,
Mm,
you know, uh, Dave Chappelle was great growing up, and even the silly guys, even like Brian Regan, who doesn't talk anything political or taboo, but if you watch his stand-up, he's questioning everything in
mm,
society and why do we do this? This is stupid that we do this. And even if it's a silly matter or it might not have a social what's the word? Like a social uh
like,
impact.
mm,
You're still like, yeah, why do we do it like that?
mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's I think what kind of was like, oh, I like that art form.
Yeah, like inciting curiosity in
Yeah,
people to
which
like
is I
look
think
at
great.
things. Oh, I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
if I like looking at life through a curious lens versus like judgmental, I think is so key for me. Are there any you mentioned rabbit holes? I'm like, what are the rabbit holes right now that you're kind of like diving into and going in?
I think kind of like what we're talking, just this idea of I watched this or in the Texas state capital, they were talking about putting the Ten Commandments in
Mm,
in schools, and one of the legislators asked, he goes, "Would you be willing to have to get it signed off by all the parents before we put in the
mm,
classroom?" And she goes, "No." And then I looked back at some research, and she's the same thing, going like, you know, when it comes to like gay or trans issues,
mm-hmm,
was just like, we got to tell the parents it's the parents' rights. So to me, it's always just interesting when they want the parents
mm,
involved.
mm,
Because at the end of the day, I think I'm kind of working on this idea of we care about kid. We don't.
mm,
You don't care about kids.
mm.
You know what I mean? Because you'll see a kid at the grocery store acting a fool. You're not like, oh, what's wrong with that kid? Why is he acting out? You're like, I hope that kid gets hit by a car and shuts the fuck up. I have a headache right now. No, but that's your inner monologue. You see a kid crying on a plane. We're not, oh,
No,
what's
that one I'm
wrong
like,
with them? You're just like, fuck, I spent $400. I have a long day ahead of me. Fuck this kid. At the end, it's like this whole idea of we use kids as this, oh, we got to protect the kid. We don't care about strangers' kids.
And it's like, sounds like she was only using it when it served her, or her mission or platform or whatever, or her cause that she's like advocating for or lobbying for. I don't know who she is,
We
but I remember
use kids, we use soldier.
Oh.
It's like I'm trying to find these rabbit holes of use of using of kind of just different ways in a society we use certain groups when it's convenient. So that's been a fun. Like
those moments, it kind of makes me cringe a lot. Like, I've definitely been guilty though of being like, God, I was hoping to like work or sleep on the plane, and I know she feels fucking bad that the kid is like the one that is crying. Like, nobody I think wants to sign up for like being the one carrying the crying kid.
But which I think is normal. I think that's, again, it goes back to we're all inherently selfish as humans, and we got to work on that. But this idea of I'm only going to be like selfish when it applies to my belief or thought, that's when I have the problem.
That's interesting. A friend of mine said something one time that framed something in a new light for me that I was like, oh, I've never looked at it like that. And he had said something, he's like, well, we're taught to manipulate from the crib. And like, we cry, we get a bottle, we get fed, we're da-da. So it kind of goes on par with like if we're selfish and serving our needs in some capacity, whether consciously or subconsciously. I mean, it kind of fits. I was like, oh, wow, I never looked at like that. If I do this or do that, then I'll achieve what it is I'm setting out for, even if I'm not clear on that intention myself always. So it's interesting. I know, and you mentioned like different like comedic inspirations. I remember like one time that someone incited some curiosity in me too was I think it was Brian Callen, and he had said or something about being vulnerable. And it's like, he's like, we talk about being vulnerable in certain times and places. He's like, but really, we're vulnerable all the fucking time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I could be like, I mean, really, you never know. Maybe all those drinking and drugging days catch up to me.
Oh,
Like, how are you doing in your aorta? Like, I saw this old funny man one time who said something. He was like, you hear that? Titanium or aorta.
That's right.
I was like, it's like so interesting to me. So, like, is that I guess that's like what's the biggest thing that's lighting you up right now, or like those rabbit holes, or
lighting up for the voice,
the kids,
not just kids, but also like, I don't know. I see a lot of comics now. They like trans stuff is huge right now, and it's very like negative towards trans. And my thing is, I've known personally maybe 2 or 3 trans people. I went to a very liberal arts school, and they've all been like pretty great humans. And so my thing is like, you're basing your trans knowledge off of a crazy guy on TikTok or a crazy person on TikTok that's saying wild stuff to get clicks. That's not everybody. That's like, I don't know. So I'm trying to just, I think the best stand-up is, I'm not saying you can't punch down. I think you should. I punch down. You should make fun of people, blah, blah, blah. But also, like, just to attack a certain group for, like, political it's just...
Especially because, if it's, like, a word right now that, okay, maybe this will get more clicks or views or that sort of thing. And I've known a few different trans people and, like, incredible people. Like, don't have any... And for me, I'm like, I don't care what you do or what you choose to do.
I remember once I was doing a gig in Oklahoma, and there was a trans comic there who was just an asshole. And I was like, oh, you're an asshole. And she's like, oh, you're just saying that because I'm trans. I'm like, no. You're just being an asshole. So it's not like I'm not this kind of person that's like, oh, they're trans. Oh, I'll bow down to you. No, but like if you treat me well, I'm not gonna I don't care what you do,
Yeah.
what you wear, what you
Yeah. Who you
do you.
fucking like
Like,
what you
yeah,
want to call
who
yourself.
gives a fuck?
Yeah.
I just think it's so funny, this idea that it goes back to we're protecting the kids. But again, in high school, we don't teach kids, you know, how to do their taxes, how to get a good job,
Mm,
how to da-da-da. When it comes to medical care, kids, if your parents don't have insurance, the
mm,
kid's fucked. We're
mhm,
like in Mississippi, kids are like starving. They're cutting
mm,
funding for food for
uh,
kids. So kids are going to school hungry. I go,
mm,
you don't give a fuck about the kids. You just don't like that group
mm,
because they make you feel weird. And so
mm,
you're using kids as the
mhm.
catalyst.
Yeah,
I
and
go,
it's
we're protecting your kid,
mm,
then feed that child.
yeah.
My thing is, if all the kids were doing well
Mm,
and then that argument came up, maybe,
mhm.
maybe. But we don't care about kids at all.
I know, we do have the resources to
Yeah,
put food in mouths.
we have
Ugh.
we have Elon Musk, who's a billionaire, probably is going to be a trillionaire, talking about wasteful spending. Buddy, then put your money where your mouth is.
Mhm. Yeah, and put some food in other people's mouths.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
thing. Is just this whole idea of,
Mm.
especially being, I think, early 30s. I'm 30. I'm on the cusp of millennial and Gen Z.
Mm.
Is we got called lazy, entitled, da da da, and I just go, I don't think it's entitled to be like, hey, when I'm sick, I should go see a doctor.
Mhm.
Yeah, there are entitled kids. They're entitled. Oh,
Mhm.
my dad only got me a Mercedes, but I wanted a BMW. You're a piece of shit. You're entitled. Yeah, but like the idea that, oh, if I work 40 hours a week, I want to be able to have like
A
a night
reason.
off,
Mhm.
or if I'm sick, I can take a night off.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But a lot of people have to go to work sick because they're like, oh, if I miss this day at work, I'm not gonna be able to pay rent this month. And
Mm.
so it's like,
And then that survival,
yeah,
like, state, like, how well can you really thrive if you're
yeah,
always in that if your basic needs aren't met or covered and
yeah.
thrive?
So that's kind of like what I'm trying to dig deeper in, is just finding this whole idea of, especially with the religion aspect, just because my grandma was very like that, where it's like putting judgment on people.
Mm.
But then when you do have the means to help people, you don't.
Mm. Mhm.
And I just think, hey man, if heaven's real, I don't feel like you're gonna be in it.
Mm.
If that's your mindset,
Yeah, yeah, like, let me keep all my coins and
yeah,
yeah, versus, like, giving.
yeah,
Yeah, I've loved, like, the, witnessing the and I have experienced it, like, the generous or, like, the givers in life, and I feel like they have, like, more reciprocity come back to them.
yeah.
There's, like, an old '90s country song that's, like, was talking about given to receive, and I'm like, I feel like I've experienced that in, like, little, moments too.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm
It's
like,
not
I
even.
definitely had a grandparent condemn me to hell too, and I'm like, "Do you think that" I'm like, you're pointing and it brings up for me, like, whether you're pointing at your fingers at one group of people
Yeah,
or, like, a person or, like, all these actions or, like, "Oh, you're gonna go hell." I'm like, it's that old like, how many are pointing back at yourself? And, like,
yeah.
do you just have, like, an unwillingness to sit in the discomfort of, like, looking at your own, you know, nuanced views self, like, good, bad, ugly, like, that
Mhm.
sort of thing, that you have to, like, have a scapegoat
Yeah.
to and
It's
so
because you have to have a scapegoat. You have to go, what they're doing is evil, what I'm doing is nice. At the end of the
mm,
day, that's what it is.
mm,
Trans people are weird and they're evil and they're trying to get to your kids. Me hoarding my knowledge, my wealth, my this, I'm actually good because I'm using it, the little bit of it, to fight against that. That's all they're doing, is they feel
mm,
bad about themselves.
mm,
Because it's just like, to me, I don't know, man. To me, it's like, and I'm not one of these people that are like, people shouldn't be able to get rich. If you made your money, good.
mhm,
Great. Good for you. But help out your community.
mhm,
Like this,
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, because I definitely feel like, okay, I like the ability to earn my or make a living, like
Yeah.
that, and like those sort of things. And like is there a point where giving too much inhibits the person's desire to earn something for themselves? So I see
Yeah.
that, but then I also see like feed the fucking kids.
Feed the kid, or
Um,
get the homeless off the street.
yeah.
This whole, like, yeah, it's to help, I don't know, help people out, whether it's with time, with money, it doesn't have to be money, but like,
Mhm.
your resource, share your resources.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'll hear people, they'll be like, yeah, man, you got to take IVs. You got to, ice baths and
Mm-hmm.
saunas. And bro, after an ice bath sauna combo, blah, 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 I feel so amazing. You got to do it, man. Go. You should go to this gym. And then you go try to sign up for the gym and it's like $450 a month.
Like on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
they're like, you got to do it, man. It's good for you. And then you realize most Americans have like $300 in their savings account.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, where's the time?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, to me, it's always just funny. They like to call these people lazy and da-da-da, but also you're not going to give them the chance to do what you kind of like that it's a social club. You kind of like that it's an uppity da-da. You don't want the Joe Schmo to be at your gym. You like that it's full of attractive, hot people with a nice car. You don't. It's, again, selfish.
Like a buffer to let
Yeah.
just anybody come in.
You want to be around your own.
Interesting. Is that like a tribal kind of
Yeah,
mentality or
it's
something?
always has
Or interesting.
Life is always cavemen. We were tribal.
Yeah.
Then it was white versus black, and then that stopped. Then it's men versus women, and it's now it's Republican versus Democrat.
Do you think that sometimes like I know for me with politics, I'm like, okay, you have this choice or this choice,
Yeah.
and you think you have two choices, and they're like, or if it's like pumped into the media,
Yeah.
then you're not able, or you don't think about this third option over here that could be really great and amazing and help more people, but you just get so caught up in like not you, but like
Yeah.
people like, get caught up in like the going back and forth or the desire to be right, that it keeps people in like a fear state so that they can't access that, because I feel like if you give them two options, they think they have a choice when really, yeah.
Because I'll get shit on because I'll say I'm more progressive in life, but like there'll be like a Republican candidate I like, and I'll tell my friends, and they'll be like, "You like that person?" And then they'll like give me shit, and I'm like, "Yeah, but I like what he did here. He actually did some." But like you said, it's easier just to go, "I'm Team Blue, you're Team Red. We're the good team, they're the bad team." It's easier because if it's nuance is hard. Nuance,
yeah, oh yeah, and everything I feel like has nuance.
yeah, and it's easier just to turn on one channel. And you're like, whatever they're telling me, I will believe, versus going like, I'll check out what they're saying, what here, and then make an. Also, I think a lot of people don't have the time.
Oh, to do, yeah, that's true. Yeah, 'cause they're trying to like
a lot of people are
survive.
taking care of their kids, so they turn on the news. They're like, oh man, this is happening. He's Hitler. Okay, crazy, and then they go on with their day.
Yeah, or a way to check out from like, okay, I just need to disconnect for a little bit. So I'm going to either scroll, or then your feed is so curated to what they think you may already believe anyway.
Yeah.
Instead of, for me, it's like, okay, can we find like some of our common threads or humanness? Because I think about like a lot of times we want the same things, like vaccines, for instance. It's like I feel like the core thing is like we want to be healthy, and we're making our decision whether we get it or not that we think will make us healthy. So it's like, can we find like little points of commonality and to have like a more
like my thing on
conducive.
I got vaccines. I thought we were all gonna die. They're like, if you take this, you won't die. I go, sign me up. But also, I'm not the kind of guy that if you're like, I don't really want to take it, I'm not like shame.
Yeah.
So, but again, everything we turn everything into teams and into I'm doing the righteous thing, and it's like again, whether you took or didn't take the vaccine. It was out of a selfish reason.
Oh yeah, like whether you wanted to die or live or not.
But even if I'm not taking it because I want to live.
Yeah.
Selfish. Everything we do in life is selfish. And we got to stop acting like we're holier than that. We're all selfish.
And messy fucking humans.
Yeah. Why do you go to church? You're not doing it because you love. Yeah, you do love God and you love Jesus and what he did. But at the end of the day, you're doing it because you want to go to heaven. And that's selfish. Yeah.
It's interesting. No, to look at it through that mindset.
Yeah.
Oh, and I also, there's like so many different points. I'm like, even like some of the all the self-care stuff, they're like, oh, is that too? I'm like, well, I want to take care of me so that I can like give and like have a full cup to whatever. But like.
No, but it's again, being selfish, it's a good thing.
It's got a bad rap.
Yeah.